Hello, today we will talk about digitalization in reporting. Stay tuned.
Digital Twin Podcast is a place where technology and business is going hand in hand.
If you are thinking about digitalizing your company, you found the right place.
Podcast is hosted by Adrian Stelmach, consultant who implements IT solutions for manufacturing companies.
And Paul Pachowicz, industrial digitalization expert, who helps global companies to optimize production processes. Adrian, it's a pleasure to talk with an enthusiast of like reporting. You know, this is the part that I don't like so much, but you know, luckily, you love it, right?
I think I like it, but you know, reporting is something which all of us know, even if we don't really know how the digitalization will work. Everyone use Excel. Everyone have a chance to report to someone or get reports from someone. So I think it's important to know how it's going on from the kitchen side.
Sure. Again, super excited to talk to reporting enthusiast. Yeah. So let's start with this. You know, maybe we can start talking about the differences of going from like analog version of reporting to this digital version of reporting. Maybe like what are the benefits? Just to have the strong statement why digitalizing in reporting is important.
Yeah. So first of all, I would like to say that in general we are experiencing I would say, boost of Industry 4.0 and changing the way people in general are trying to use the data. For example, currently we have around 8 billion people in the world, right? And around 3 billion doesn't have access to internet still. This is based on statista.com data. So 5 billion have some access. But the question is when those 3 billion will have access. So where we are getting to meet that 90% or near 100% of population will have internet access, right? And this is natural because some people we are developing changing of how people are using different devices, how people are using the internet, and how people are using, for example, data. All of us are using nowadays WhatsApp and different, Microsoft Teams and so on. So the question is, when there will be a switch between our current ways, how we benefit and use the data to the digital way.
Sure, that was a long introduction, but I want to talk about your favorite. I want to talk about reporting. And maybe for now will be just a general. Maybe later on we will dive deep into this industrial digitalization and the reporting that's related to that. But what would be the first step? It probably would be like kind of analyzing the as is process or the current state of reporting, right?
So no matter what kind of business you're in, I think the first thing you have to change the way you're thinking. Because, for example, 10 years ago, there was way different opportunities to use technology, right? For example, ERP systems. We only had custom ERPs, which means they were expensive, and a lot of businesses couldn't afford it, right? Because if you have to spend one or few million in 1 year, not every business can afford that. Nowadays, we have a lot of solutions which are modular, right? You can pay just monthly amount of 100 euros, and you have ERP, for example, right? So in last 10 years, everything change according to possibilities which we can use technology in B2C, but also in B2B, right? So first of all, if we think about it 10 years ago, and nowadays the possibilities are way different. And now where to start? So let's say I am in a current state that I know that I can afford it, and I want to change the way people are communicating, because reporting in general is just a tool for improve the communication in the organization, right? So what is the first step? First step is just get in the as-is situation. So making an audit from someone, from internal of the organization, from outside of the organization, who will tell us how much actually time we are spending for communicating to each other, right? Because I have some task which I have to do, but after that, I have to report to someone. I have to say what I was doing, how much parts I did produce, for example, if I'm a machine operator, and so on. And how much time is that? So this is the first step. So audit.
Sure. What I would also include here is setting up key performance indicators for like what actually are you trying to track? You know, what kind of data, like what would be the frequency of reporting, you know, who would be, let's call them a target audience, you know, who would be the people that are using this reports. And I think that's crucial at this point, because that helps you choose the right tools and the right technology later on. So this is the first stage, and the second stage would be choosing the tools and technology, right?
Yeah, and one more thing which changed nowadays, if you compare it to 10, 15 years ago, and I'm telling that because a lot of people who owns businesses, they are owning it from 10, 20 years, and they are thinking about technology 10 years ago. They said, okay, it's not for me because it's too expensive, I don't understand, and so on. And they think the same way nowadays, right? So the second thing it's changed, it's the storage cost, right? Because, for example, 10 years ago or 15 years ago or 20 years ago, we didn't think about something like that to store the data outside of our organization. In general, storing the information, any kind of information, it was very expensive. Nowadays, if you think how much gigabytes of information you are storing in your computer, in your phone, and using the cloud in your phone, it's hundreds of gigabytes, right? And you paying it how much? 10 euros per month or something like that, right? So the general cost of storage is much less nowadays. And and this is the opportunity to store more data, to make data more detailed, right? And to make a space for systems to make conclusions from those data. So this is the way, because you are talking about KPIs. Of course, KPIs are very important, but they are working if you have right data set it up and you are storing it in the right way.
Sure. So let's say that we are at the stage of choosing the right tools, choosing the right technology. I would kind of divide it into three different pieces, and please tell me if you would do the same thing. First would be data collection, right? Somehow you have to collect the data, and then you have to visualize it, right? And you can use Powerbi or just any other software that helps you do that. And then a lot of people think that Powerbi is a reporting software, but it's more of like a software that visualizes the data. But then there's another layer that's actually a lawyer. That's actually a layer that helps with creating reports, and there's different kind of software like Looker, I guess, and stuff like that. Is this the flow that you would use when you would introduce when you would choose the right technology and tools?
I think I would start with the needs of communication in general in organization, right? Because as I said in the beginning, reports are something which is making the communication in an automatized way, right? If I'm sending you a report, it could be a PDF, it could be anything, it could be a Power BI, of course. It means that I don't have to tell you anything because it's on the report. And it's scalable, right? Because I am creating the report once and everyone in the room or in the organization can see the same data in the same way, right? So I would say the first question would be why you want to automatize the way you are currently reporting or you are currently communicating the data.
Why is that important? Like, because I kind of understand it, but the goal of that process is important, right? This is what we're talking about. So the data collection is the next step, right? Because first you have to figure it out why you want to change the process that you have right now. The distribution of data, maybe more fluent. It can happen in real time, and those are the benefits, right? Of
automatizing the communication is general communication in any organization is something which is the biggest problem, because if we talk, sometimes you will not understand me, sometimes I will not understand you, even if we talk in the same language, right? So reports and the way we are storing the data and we are visualizing the data is the way how we can synchronize the communication, and that is very important. This is and why automatizing this is important. The reason is simple, because if we automatize the way we visualize the data which is stored, it means that we don't have to spend the time to do it, which is cutting the costs and making it the communication more efficient.
Okay, so we do talk about the same thing, but also we don't, which is good. It's
the general goal of this podcast.
It's a good conversation. So what comes next? Let's say that you have chosen the right. First of all, you found out that this is the need that you're trying to fulfill through digitalizing this process, and then you have the right tool to collect the data, you have the right tool to visualize the data, you have the right tool to actually create that report based on the data. What would be the next step? I would say it could be like training that you set up for your team, so they know what happens and why this is happening and how this is going to help us solve the problem, so they are also involved in this process. What would you do as a next step?
Okay, so I would say in general, if you think about digitalization, sooner you talk to people that you are automatizing something or implementing some kind of technology, it's better, because people will understand the process more and it will help you to achieve it. So I would say that the question is from where you have this data from, right? Because if you are in a manufacturing company, it means that the source of the data is probably the machines, because most of the manufacturing companies have a lot of different machines. And so if the machines, if it's from the machines, the question is, what is the possibility to take this data directly from the machines to actually not involve people to do it, right? Because if you don't have this kind of system set it up, it means that machine is telling you what he is doing, and some person is actually writing the same thing on the report, and then someone else is typing the same thing which someone wrote in, for example, ERP systems. So you have a lot of places where people are not giving a value to the organization, just retyping the information, which finally goes to someone as a Power BI report, I would say.
Okay, so training of your team, you would actually start asking questions before you started the implementation, right? You would
Right.
talk to the people.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. What about data governance?
Mhm.
What about making sure that there's certain standards for those for the data, that it's collected in a certain way, right? And then it's visualized in a certain way, and then it's stored in a certain way, and then only certain people can access it, and then of course the GDPR compliance if required. It's not always required, right? If this is data based on some machines, some robots, stuff like that, I don't think they have identity, or maybe, I mean, they do, but I don't think they care. So what about this data governance policies? When are you setting them up?
I think standards. I think it depends on general standards in the organization. And processes. Is there any process how the data flow is done currently, right? If it's written down, and if everyone is doing in the same way. If you say yes, we have processes how people are communicating and reporting to each other. It means it will be easier for you to automatize the process. If there's no standards, it means that also the trainings for the employees, it will be much harder, because you are changing two things. First thing, you are standardizing the way people are communicating, and the second thing, you're actually automatizing the communication by reports. So it depends on the organization, but standards in general is something which you need to have if you want to implement the technology, because without standards, technology will only show you how much problems in other areas you have.
Yeah, you automate something that shouldn't be automated at the first place.
Exactly.
It should be kind of organized and fixed at the first place, and only then automated. Okay, so we are at the stage of this process that I think it's time to run a test, to see if the process that we have set up actually works, right? So it will be the time to test it out and maybe draw conclusions and implement some changes, because it's not always the best. It's not always set up in a perfect way first time we're doing this, right?
Yeah. So if you are in, let's say you are in level 0. So you don't have any digitalized reports, or your reports are based on Excel, right? So this is like a level 0. If this is the current situation, it means that there will be few steps, which we said before. But don't think about it like you have to automatize the entire organization, there's entire communication in the organization. First thing you should, after you figured out the things which we talked about before, you should take just a small piece of the organization, maybe one machine, maybe one department, right? Because it doesn't have to be communication between machine and people. It could be, let's say, report between production and the CEO level and the C level of the organization, right? One report, right? We want to automatize the way it's being done, and make a proof of concept of that. So just automatize the one thing, make a lesson learned from that. So tell everyone what was the bad things, what was the good things during the process, right? And after that, you can think, okay, what will be the next step of that? It's classical digital transformation in the organization, but we are talking about reporting today because it could be the first step for any organization, which will be less expensive, I would say, maybe the easiest one to do, and maybe the one which will be most necessary in the beginning.
Sure. I think this is let's say that we have tested it out and it works. We have improved several things. What I would do here at the very end, not maybe very end, but that at the end, I would talk to all the stakeholders, and I would make sure that they understand the benefits, and they actually, because not all the benefits might be visible for them, right? of course, we should probably do that at the beginning whenever we, decided to digitalize reporting, and then, kind of design the change management process for that particular process. But I would make sure that we all have the understanding of the benefits. I think people would be more keen to kind of follow some more digitalization processes, or they will be more keen of maybe digitalizing some other reports that they have to do manually right now, but they do have to understand the benefits first.
Yeah, I think we on the beginning of this process of digitalization, let's say reporting, because we are talking today about that, we think about what we want to achieve. So what are the possible benefits? We have some assumptions, and also we think about, okay, how much money we will not spend because we have digitalized reports. And after the process of proof of concept, so after those steps we talked about, if we have real working report or real working piece of this digital machine, we have to check how we meet actually the actual goals of this project, right? So, for example, we want to spend every of our because of this report, all of the employees which were involved will spend, let's say, 1 hour less on typing the data to the spreadsheet, right? So we have to check it out if it's done, right?
It'd be important to collect the data and share it with the others, right? So we are all aligned and on the same page. Is this the time to talk about takeaways, or you have something else that you like to add?
Yeah, I think we should talk about takeaways.
Takeaways. I really feel this is the time, because in some previous episodes I didn't feel like having takeaways, because there was so much knowledge within those episodes. But this one deserves a takeaway, something that we haven't talked about yet, and that would be continuous improvement of that process. And to be able to do that, you have to collect feedback from your employees or people that are, kind of involved in the process of reporting. And I think, because before I said that, this is the last point would be to kind of communicate the benefits, but no, I think the very last point of this process is making sure that this process will never stop. That this is just ongoing process that is based on feedback that you're getting from your employees.
I think that reporting and automatizing the reporting, so automatizing the way people are communicating to each other in an organization, is the easiest way to start the journey with digitalization in any kind of company. And no matter if it's a manufacturing company or you are running a restaurant, because in restaurants, for example, we also have a lot of communication, waitress, cooks, and so on. If you automatize the process, you will see, I think, this is the fastest way in reporting. This is the fastest way to see benefits and actually check if your strategy with this digitalization was run in a right way.
Beautiful. I think that is it for today, and I will see you, and I will see you next week.
Yeah, thank you, and leave a comment if it's reporting is your passion as well. Thank you, and bye.
Bye.